Hey everyone, how is it going? Welcome back to another episode of Break the Chains Media. Today I wanted to talk about some earth changes, some geological news that was kind of in the headlines for the past month. But yesterday in my state of Colorado, there was yet another earthquake that happened. And when I, as a native, hear about earthquakes in Colorado, it kind of makes my red flag kind of go off, or makes me kind of think a little bit deeper on why is this happening? What's causing it? When I started first noticing the earthquake situation was back in December, but I didn't think too much of it. Now, recently, as of the first week of February, there was an earthquake in Glenwood Springs, Colorado, which is just on the I-70 corridor west of Denver, about 4 hours. We've also had a secondary earthquake there, but then there was another one near the sand dunes, I believe it was. And then just recently, as of yesterday, there was an earthquake, first initially reported as a 5.3 magnitude earthquake, and then it was corrected to be a 4.6 earthquake down in the southwest region of the state, closer to the Utah border near Moab. Over the last 2 months, Colorado's seen upwards of 5 to 6 different earthquakes happening all along the western slope, southern Colorado, and various areas in the mountains and near the Four Corners region. Now, when I hear these kind of things, I immediately think about Yellowstone and the caldera and the region that we live in, and the fact that the Yellowstone caldera is the thinnest part of the Earth's crust in this northern hemisphere. So I pulled up some stuff on the USGS website and just typed in Colorado earthquakes, recent earthquakes, and I pulled up some pretty good information. Here you see that since the 1900s to present, they've actually kept a running tally, and I'm actually going to update it here real quick so it kind of gives us a better idea on the current time. But as you can see here, you got 3 different earthquakes in the area. We can click on them here. We'll check them all out. And I wanted to kind of look at the whole region as a whole. You see that there's some stuff happening in Utah, right in Salt Lake, actually a pretty big one there in Salt Lake. And then in Yellowstone, there was one as well. But it's kind of interesting that there's more stuff happening in Colorado than Yellowstone in the last, 2 months. And when I first heard about the stuff in Glenwood, and I first heard about, they're small magnitudes, they're 3.1s and 3.0, and I think this last, 4.6, it's not anything alarming, and there was no damage reported, but it does raise a notion of concern to the fact that, why are these being more frequent? They're becoming more frequent in the region, and we're not even on necessarily a tectonic zone. We're not even on a plate zone. We're in the middle of the country. I mean, I know that Oklahoma and the New Madrid fault line out east near the Mississippi River Basin is a pretty important thing. What was it? In the 1800s, they had an earthquake that was so huge that the Mississippi River ran the opposite direction for a while, which is, really interesting. And these are the kind of geological events that make me think about what could happen here. I also pulled up some of the seismos from the region using the USGS website here, and you can actually see that there is some activity, some disturbances that happened in the Idaho Springs region, which is, now that I think about it, is probably due to the avalanche that happened a couple days back, or something along the lines of the avalanche and the snow in the region, because they did have an avalanche in the I-70 corridor near Glenwood Springs a couple days back as well. Then there's also, which I thought was a little bit more interesting, was the one down in the Great Sand Dunes region. The Great Sand Dunes region is in the southern part of Colorado, actually pretty close to the area where this 5.3 earthquake happened. I mean, it's in the same region. So I'm assuming that this is probably what we're looking at here. And it's pretty textbook as far as the wave pattern and how that's showing up. Very interesting, though. It's something that just makes me think a little bit more about our area, what the Earth is doing, what the world is doing. Yellowstone's always on my mind. We're living next to one of the world's largest supervolcanoes. So if there is something happening in the realm of geoseismic activity, and we're starting to see it down south here, it is cause for concern, or at least be a little bit more wary on the situation. I know most of the news articles are just saying, oh, it's no big deal, it's fine, it's just another small earthquake, no damage was reported, which is good. But it is interesting to have earthquakes like this happening in the Rocky Mountain region. One other thing that kind of goes a little bit more into the fringe aspect of earth changes and geological activity is how the solar system is affecting our planet, and what repercussions have with the sun, the moon, where we are in our galaxy and in our transitory movement through the Milky Way. It kind of hints towards my theories on the electric universe, on Birkeland currents, on stuff with the connection with our sun and with other planets, and what that has to do with our crustal displacement, or our pushing and pulling of the seismic activity in Earth. So it just kind of leads into a different kind of optional theory or optional topic. And if you really want to get down, dig deep, pun intended, there are people that also believe that there are deep underground tunneling systems that are happening deep below various parts of our nation in some sort of maybe government or dark industrial type project that we don't know about as the public. And these are causing the earthquakes or the seismic activity to show up. And it also falls in line with people having reports of hearing loud booms and huge rattling noises and sounds. The connection between underground activity and seismic activity and deep booms and the Earth. I mean, there's a lot of things that can go into play, and this is just my head just kind of thinking about different things. For us to live in Colorado, to have a substantial earthquake greater than a 5.0 or a 6.0 or, God forbid, an 8.0, that's something that Coloradans aren't really akin to or aware of. We don't really think about that. I mean, if there are more frequent, more recurring patterns of earthquakes and this kind of geological or earth activity, what should we do as a person that lives in the area? I mean, obviously it goes without saying that you should always have food, you should always have storable water, you should always have things that can keep you safe and can keep you sustained if there is something that does happen that's unsuspected or comes out of nowhere. With that being said, folks, I wanted to say thanks for coming back. Thanks for listening to what I had to say about this, and keep an ear to the ground, and be aware of your surroundings, be aware of the activity in your area, and we can always plan for success, plan for anything, That's the most important thing for all of us to do. And if you could, click a like, click a subscribe at the bottom there. Check out my website. I got some pretty cool stuff there. I got some art, I got some pins. Let your friends know. Share this video. If you're from Colorado or are familiar with earthquakes, please leave me a comment and tell me some other things that we could be better prepared for in the future. So with that being said, folks, thanks for coming. BreakTheChains.media is my website. You can follow me there. You can also follow me on all the social media platforms: Twitter, Facebook, Minds.com. I'm just about everywhere. So please, thanks, and most importantly, fight for freedom.